We're often asked by our volunteers for guidance about how best to support children who seem reluctant to read or who are shy. It's helpful to remember that many pupils chosen by their teachers to participate in Chapter 1 may struggle from a lack of confidence, and you may encounter children who are very shy and hesitant to read out loud. These children will often find reading difficult and may not be getting much support at home, and so need extra encouragement to persevere. Reluctant readers often share particular traits or experiences. They commonly lack confidence. They don't see themselves as readers. They've had negative experiences of reading. They know they find reading hard. They're afraid of making mistakes. They might not be used to practicing. They might have other things on their mind. If you are supporting a child who is at the very early stages of learning to read, it's helpful to think about learning to read as being like learning to swim. You begin by being fully supported, and this support is gradually released. You learn one step at a time to feel safe. Repeated practice makes all the difference. You succeed when you're given clear guidance on how to improve. Success provides the greatest motivation. Common difficulties a child might have at this stage of reading are doesn't recognize the separate sounds in a word. For example, E sound in sheep. Doesn't recognize tricky words on sight. For example, the. Struggles to blend sounds together. Misses words or makes up words, reads the whole sentence but doesn't understand what it means. If you encounter a child who experiences one of these difficulties, remember that it is important to take things slowly. Suggesting children use their phonics to move through a word, sound by sound, will be helpful. You can use the sending to student box to break down the sounds in a word and send them to the child one by one. Remember, the pupil will see them delivered by a small owl. You can also model breaking a word into sounds for them. Don't forget to use words like blend to explain how you make sounds into a word. This will mirror language used by the teacher in the classroom. For children who struggle to remember common exceptions or tricky words like the or where, it's all about repetition. You can highlight these words by clicking on them and go over them often. It's also really important to try to build praise, enjoyment, and excitement into your reading sessions. Talking about the pictures in a book, enjoying listening to someone else read, and taking pleasure in the characters and storyline of a book are equally important during this early stage of learning. As you read with your pupil week after week, you might find the strategies below helpful when looking for new ways to keep the child interested in reading. We've summarised these into a helpful PDF, How to Support a Less Confident Chapter 1 Pupil. Start the session positively with a comment rather than a question. I've been looking forward to reading with you all day. I can't wait to see what we're going to be reading together. Spend some time reviewing the title page. Comment rather than question. I wonder what this book could be about. Or ask the pupil questions about what they see on the cover illustration. Can they make a prediction about what the story is about? Take a picture walk through the book. Go through each page of the book and talk about the illustrations. What does your reader notice in the pictures? What clues can they spot that might suggest what the story is about? Use the sound spotter technique with the pictures. You could ask, can you find something in the picture that starts with the letter S? How many different things can you spot with that sound? If you've moved on from initial sound recognition, you can adapt to vowel sounds and ask, can you find something with the A sound? I can see A, N, rain. Does your reader have a story they love to read? If so, read it lots of times. Each time your reader revisits the same story, they become more and more familiar with the sounds that are repeated throughout the story. This repetition helps children remember and sound out words that may have been difficult the first time they read the story. While verbal praise is very motivating and should be given often, we also provide several high-five pop-ups you can use to further reward your students' hard work. When giving praise, explain what it was they did so well. Let them know why you feel it deserves praise. Remember, it's not just about the result, it's about the effort. I really like the way you blended all of the sounds together. I can see you've been practicing this word. The way you changed B for "d" when you got muddled really helped you to read that word. You should be really proud of yourself because you kept reading right to the end. Sometimes you might find that your session coincides with another class activity that your pupil is keen to participate in and which they ask you if they can go back to. Please don't be disheartened if this happens. If this happens regularly, send a quick message to the teacher and consider changing the session time if you can. Occasionally, you may find your struggling reader may appear to be uninterested or be easily distracted. They may even tell you they don't want to read and display challenging behaviour. It may be that you need to think about keeping your initial sessions with your pupils shorter to start with. If 30 minutes just seems too long for them to focus and keep engaged, start at 15 minutes and build the time up gradually. Any reading time that they have is a bonus at this age. Do also remember that being a child is hard work. Each day they're learning a huge amount about the world around them. Keep in mind that something may have happened in their day to unsettle them. Perhaps they had an argument with a best friend. What can seem like a small thing to an adult could be upsetting to a child. If a child's behaviour is challenging in a session, try following these steps. Make a simple, clear request. Gemma, shall we focus on reading the story? Make a closed request. Thank you for focusing so well on the story, Gemma. Frame a positive choice. Gemma, are you able to focus on reading with me, or do we need to stop reading for today? Lastly, if your session doesn't go to plan, remember it's not likely to be about you. Reflect afterwards on whether you could have done anything differently, and if over time you feel that you're not making progress, contact the child's teacher for advice using the messaging part of the platform.